Welcome to Animisting and this evening's OMG Real Talk. And I am your host, as you know, and always I'm Florida. How is everybody today? As you all can see, I have a beautiful honey with me, and her name is Keisha Morgan. And does she have a story to share with you today? So, we've had this crazy week. We've had the blackout 4th of July. I hope you all remembered to wear black and not be rolling with that red, white, and blue foolishness. No, we in protest, people. We protest. Okay. And, this week, or rather last week, had a lot of talk about, the Black community being the underdogs for COVID-19. Really? We're going to look into that because I've been looking at some genuine stats, not the stats that they want to put out there just so that they can scaremonger you, because our dear great dad, father, Bill Gates, wants to inoculate the whole of the Black population. Yeah, I'm putting that out there. Bill and Melinda, your asses is cuckoo. Anyway, so, and then here we have, dear Mr. Matt Hancock saying, we care about, the Black community and the BME community, and we want to make sure that they are inoculated from the second wave of COVID-19. So when this new vaccination comes in, we want to give it to the Black community first. Excuse me?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. We have always been last. This is new. We're last for everything else. And for the first time in history, now you want to give us the drugs first. No, we're happy to stay in our lane. We'll wait. You will take it first and we'll see the effect on you. Then we may determine if we want it or not, bloody cheek. Anyway, so let me introduce my beautiful guest to you. Go ahead and tell them how wonderful you are. And I want you to take a note of that shirt that she's wearing. Okay? Go for it, girl. Go for it. Hey,
hi. Hi. Thank you so much for having me on here. This is like my first time ever doing something like this. And I'm really happy to with our matching top, with our matching t-shirts.
Of course. Make us awesome. Come on now.
Yeah. So my name's Keisha, and I'm wearing this t-shirt which says Wiggle Waggle, and that is my company. That's the name of my company. And I am I provide music and movement for early years in Hammersmith and Fulham. So I teach at local schools and nurseries and children's centres. I do children's parties. I teach baby ballet. I'm a qualified Zumba instructor. I'm a wedding singer. I just do lots of things under this Wiggle Waggle umbrella. And I've been doing that for 4 years now.
Okay.
And yeah, that's me.
Fantastic.
That's me in a nutshell.
You see, this is what I'm saying. We have some amazing Black women out here, y'all. Don't play with the negresses. We got this, okay? So, oh my baby. Oh, listen, I'm just gonna tell you now, I've got some amazing family. Right now, my niece is just boosting up my head. Thank you, darling. I love you. Thank you.
Aww.
You know your auntie's 37 and holding. That's where sticking with that. So okay, so let's talk about this. So many people, we know that we're in this pandemic, COVID-19 madness. For those of you who are not aware, each country is dealing with the situation differently. So what we're doing is, at the moment here in the UK, we have the National Health Service. So that's a thing where I wouldn't say that, you have to pay up front. We pay every month for our taxes and you're working or whatever in employment. So just for those who are not familiar with the National Health Service, that's how it works. When you go to get treatment, depending on what it is, then you can either pay for it so then you can be seen quicker. Otherwise, you wait in the line of whenever you can get seen. Plus as well, you pay for your medications or your prescriptions when you go to get them. That's just a brief outline for those who are not familiar with the National Health Service. So under the National Health Service, they identified individuals that they believe would be high risk of COVID-19. And so I'll just give you briefly some of the people that they thought would be at risk of the disease. So the list of diseases and conditions considered to be high risk. So you've got organ transplant recipients, people with cancer or undergoing active chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and for lung cancer, people with cancers or for blood, bone or marrow, leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, people having immune therapy, antibody treatments for cancer, people having other targeted cancer treatments, people who had bone marrow stem cell transplants in the last 6 months, people with severe respiratory conditions, including cystic fibrosis, severe asthma, COPD, and rare diseases which impact the metabolism and increase the risk of infections, such as sickle cell, lupus, people on immunosuppression therapy, oh, that was a mouthful, sufficient to significantly increase risk of infection, and people, of course, who are pregnant or have heart disease or congenital acquired disease. So it doesn't say diabetes, and it doesn't say a few other disorders, but we now know it's impacting everybody from every area. And I think when Keisha gives her story, you will start to see a lot more clearly how these facts that they've given are not correct. So, when did you first recognize, Keisha, that you were unwell?
So what I'll just start with and say first of all is I'm 40 years old. I do have asthma.
She's lying. She's lying. Don't take it from me. She's lying.
I'm sorry. What I meant is I'm 37 and holding.
There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. Thank you. Okay.
So I'm 40 years old and I do have asthma, but my asthma was well controlled.
Right.
And I wouldn't have considered myself at risk.
Okay.
In life anyway, I'm quite careful
right.
about viruses and staying away from things like that and staying fit and healthy and strong because I was dancing every day. I was teaching 6 or 7 days a week.
Yeah,
I was teaching 6 classes a day. Yeah, so I would consider myself to be fit and healthy,
right?
Even though I have asthma. So it was the 20th of March.
Right.
So basically that week I was still teaching all my classes, and then we started to realize where this was heading. So classes were starting to cancel.
Right.
I think by the Wednesday, it was like most of my classes had gone, and I was kind of like shocked.
What am I going to do here?
Yeah. So on the Friday, I felt tired and I felt a little bit breathless, but I thought, okay, life is changing really quickly. Maybe it's a bit of anxiety about the future. Maybe you're just exhausted because of the last few weeks. But I felt like I was sleeping a lot more. I kept sort of falling around 5 or 6 o'clock. I'd feel really quite tired. And I noticed that I was breathless. So I speak a lot. Anyone who knows me, I love talking. I talk on the phone. I talk in real life. I talk to everybody. But I found it was an effort. It was an effort to speak. So I felt like I was breathless. But because I have asthma, I was thinking, okay, maybe my asthma's not under control, or maybe I'm just tired. So for that first week, I didn't really pay any attention to what was happening. I was just noticing I was a bit breathless. So the first week we went into lockdown, I was getting up every morning at 7 a.m. and going for a walk along the river. And I was doing some filming to take Wiggle Waggle online, because before that I was teaching 24 classes a week in schools and nurseries and children's centres. And I was preparing to take it online. So I was doing filming, and it was actually one of my best friends who noticed. He said to me, when you're speaking, you sound out of breath. And I was thinking, I hadn't really noticed, but then I started to notice it. And when I watched the video back, I could see I'd sort of be in every few words, I'd have to take an extra breath. So I was like, that's strange. But I still didn't even think of COVID. And the first time I called the doctor, probably after a week of that, I just said, I'm a bit breathless and I'm a bit tired. The first thing they said is, have you got a temperature? Have you got a cough? Because that was the thing that they were promoting. So no, I don't have either of those things. So they said it's probably your asthma, increase your asthma education. Then in week 2, I started coughing up blood. So I went from, I was a little bit breathless. I was trying to film. I remember on that day, the 27th of March, I'm a Zumba instructor as well. So I did some Wiggle Waggle filming, and then I tried to do some Zumba.
Okay, I'm just like, okay.
A bit of everything. So when I was trying to do the Zumba, I could feel my lungs were not happy. Like I couldn't take a deep enough breath. But I still was thinking, this is anxiety. Your life has changed suddenly. You've been teaching for 4 years solidly, and suddenly your business is up in the air. So I kept thinking, this is anxiety. You need to keep going. You need to push through. That's another thing about me. I'm kind of known as being a sparkly purple unicorn. I'm positive. I look for the best in any situation, and I just keep going.
Right.
So I just kept going until I coughed up blood. Now, I'm the sort of person who doesn't like to make a fuss. I am a single mum, and I'm running a business, and I've got a little one who actually randomly she had Kawasaki disease 2 years ago, before it became famous like it is now.
Yeah.
She had it 2 years ago, and I'll tell you a bit about Kawasaki disease later. But it affected her heart, so she has ongoing care under Great Ormond Street.
Okay.
So I had just been sort of just trying to get on and do all my normal stuff. I coughed up blood, but I was thinking, oh no, there's no time for that, because you're a mum and you need to take your business online. So stupidly, and this is the wrong thing to do, I ignored it. For 2 days, I was coughing up blood secretly, but I was just thinking, oh, it would just go away soon if I just don't look at it.
Yeah.
And then on the 3rd day, it was so much that I thought, okay, I need to tell somebody now.
Right.
So, but again, I had no temperature, I had no cough, and I didn't feel ill.
Right.
So I called the doctor.
But apart from the fact that you couldn't breathe.
No, but see, again, it was just breathlessness. It didn't even feel like asthma. It just felt like I couldn't quite catch my breath.
Okay.
But I still didn't associate it with being ill. I thought it was anxiety. I started doing breathing exercises, meditation. I was, I was just trying all different things. I didn't associate it with being ill, because I didn't feel like I had flu or anything, like I needed to lie down or anything like that. It wasn't. So when I called the doctor, they were like, coughing up blood is not good. You will need to go to the hospital for an X-ray.
I would say.
Yeah. So at that time I was scared, because obviously that's when the whole COVID thing was just blowing up. This was like 27th of March. I did not want to go anywhere near a hospital.
That is true. A lot of people were like, forget it.
Yeah, I was just like, no, thank you. I'm happy to stay in my bubble at home and stay. And also, I had a really bad asthma attack 18 months prior to this, and I had done a lot of changes to sort of keep myself well. I'm very into my herbal remedies, my home stuff, my ginger, my turmeric. So I'm like, I don't need an X-ray. I don't need your drugs. I don't need to go to hospital. So anyway, I went for this X-ray very reluctantly. I must shout out my friends from Playdays parties, actually, in Hammersmith and Fulham, who provided me with a mask and gloves so that I could go to the hospital, because I was really scared to go. So he came and gave me gloves and a mask. I went there. They were so alarmed by what they saw, they called me back on the same day, and they were like, there's a rather large shadow on your lung, and we're not quite sure what it is. But it's going to need further investigation, and we're going to start you on antibiotics now, today, just in case, because we don't know what it is. Again, nobody said COVID. No, their thing was, do you have a temperature or a cough?
Hold on. Sorry, 1 minute, stop. For some reason, on your end, we've got something technical. Is a call coming through, or because you went a bit warbled?
Oh, let's see. No call coming through. Oh, it's Rodney Jones. Hello, Rodney Jones.
Okay, go. Yeah, I think you're back in sync. You know, for some reason you just went like you were underwater and we were in space. So
I'm so not good at technology. I have other talents, but not. Are we okay now?
Yeah, that's fine. And Rodney says hi.
Hi, Rodney. Hi. I was actually very inspired by Rodney's interview, and that's kind of why I'm here today. Oh, I think we've lost the host.
Okay, so now we've both done a...
Oh, there you are. You came back.
Yeah. Do you see this crazy thing? Okay, go for it. It's fine now.
Okay, brilliant. So, so they said I had a shadow. They said I needed to start antibiotics. And they were quite concerned. They actually were checking me for the C word they mentioned, but they still didn't say, actually the other C word.
Yeah, I know, that one that everyone's scared of, the big
But they didn't say COVID because I didn't have a temperature. That was their thing. You don't have a temperature, so you don't have.
Okay.
So then I left there and I started the antibiotics and suddenly just went completely downhill.
Wow.
So I was coughing up major blood clots.
Okay.
I was coughing up major blood clots. I was coughing out all different coloured things. My chest became like lead. It was so heavy. I couldn't take a deep breath. It felt like somebody was sitting on me.
Is that better? Sorry, not to cut you. You've got some people saying on Instagram they can't hear us. Can you guys tell me if you can hear us better now? I've put the volume up. Can you hear better now, guys?
Do I need to do anything?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was getting stabbing pains in my back.
In your back? That's your lung? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because every time I've had lung problems with asthma, it's been at the front.
Yeah.
But this pain was at the back. And it was like being repeatedly stabbed in the bottom of my lungs. And it was so painful. Like I can't explain how painful it was. My lungs felt like they were vibrating quite violently, contracting, sort of spasming and doing weird things. But it was the pain and the blood that was quite scary.
Right.
So for that 7 days, that was like week 2, on one side of my lungs, it was like my lung was being attacked.
Yes.
Quite badly. On week 3, I went completely downhill. And all this time, you're staying home because we're being told to stay at home.
Stay home, right? Yeah.
So I kept thinking, okay, is it bad enough that I need to call somebody? I can't really breathe. I'm not sure.
Wow.
So I was just taking each day as it came.
Right.
And kept thinking, okay, if it gets really bad, then I'll call for help. So there were a couple of nights when it got so bad I couldn't get enough breath in. And I thought, no, I can't breathe here. But then when you call the GP said call 111. You call 111 and they would say stay at home.
Yes.
So I was kind of like, okay, stay at home until when? They'd say stay at home until you can't breathe and then call an ambulance.
I shouldn't even laugh, but I'm not being funny. I do believe that the instructions that were given to 111 that then 111 gave to people is what killed many people. Absolutely. Not the fact that it's attacking different ethnicities. It's the fact that the information that was given was wrong. Yeah, that's just madness. Oh, you need to wait until you can't breathe. If I can't breathe, I'm about to die.
Absolutely. And this is another thing. Sorry, I keep remembering things from before. So from the first week we went into lockdown. Right. I had already been on this health journey for the last 2 years anyway. It's funny, when you look back at things, you know that God knows why. When my daughter had Kawasaki disease two years ago, and I could never understand why that had happened to her. And I'll tell that story briefly afterwards. And then I had the asthma attack 18 months previously, and I couldn't understand why. It all was leading to this. I was being trained for this. I was making changes in my body to prepare my lungs to fight this. So leading up to this, I had already started steaming. My friend said to me just before lockdown, oh, you should do steaming. It's really good for you. Just slice up some citrus fruits, put some Himalayan salt in, put your head over the pan. So I was doing that the 2 weeks before this thing attacked me. And I think that prepared my lungs. So anyway, so I went into weeks 2 and 3, coughing up all this stuff. The pain got so unbearable. And it was like my lungs were shrinking down and couldn't breathe anymore. So then I thought, no, I've got to go to A&E. There were 3 nights when I drove myself to A&E and sat outside A&E. Wow. And was like, do I go in? Do I not go in? I did breathing exercises. I felt I was getting enough oxygen. I came home.
Wow.
You know, but I think it's because they were using the fear factor to control the masses and keep us.
Save the NHS. Don't come. Say that. That's not my job. That's yours. You save the NHS.
Yeah. So then eventually when the pain got too bad and the blood was too much and I was coughing out the craziest things and I couldn't take the pain, and I mean I was having to look after my young daughter through all of this. So I was going to bed at night thinking, am I going to wake up in the morning?
Wow.
She's 6 years old. I need to leave instructions for her for if I'm not awake when she wakes up. You know, it was all these things going through your head. And then I just thought, no, this is silly and it's not safe for her. Right. So I need to do something. So I called the doctor again, and I think by then they were refusing to see anybody. So you could only have your appointment over the phone.
Yeah.
So over the phone, based on my symptoms and based on what I had said, and by that time they had examined the X-ray,
Right.
and that doctor said to me, "I believe that you have COVID. It has progressed to bilateral pneumonia."
Wow.
And she said to me, "I'm going to be honest with you. The doctors don't know what to do here. So if you go to hospital, all they're going to do is give you oxygen."
Right.
So she said, and that freaked me out, because obviously when you're that sick, you look to these people to save you. So that really,
if your ass don't know what to do, what the hell am I supposed to do?
That really messed with my head. And she said, if you go there, all they can do is give you oxygen. Wow. So it's going to come down to how well your lungs respond and how your immune system kicks back. Wow. And she said that's all. And she's a Indian doctor from my surgery, and she knows me because of my asthma attack, and she knows the changes and the journey. And she said to me, "You know what to do." She said, "Get your ginger out, get all your stuff out. You know what to do." Okay. And that is when I kind of went. I feel like it was like the 40 days in the wilderness that like Jesus had. That's when I went into myself and I thought, you have to fight this, and you've got to do it on your own. I don't have. I mean, it sounds like I don't have people to help me, but I'm not the sort of person that.
No, it isn't that you don't have people to help you, but we're the mindset. Look, I can do this. I've been doing this, and I don't want to be a burden on anyone. You know, I've got my child. This is my responsibility. You're just being the superwoman that you are. You know, and superwomen don't usually hang up her cape.
Exactly. I don't usually take this off, and I And actually, my Wiggle Waggle community, my friends, my family, they will be surprised to hear this, because I haven't told anybody this story. I've literally just gone. I'm on day 107 of symptoms, and I haven't really told anyone. So people will be surprised to hear this. But in that time, I thought, you've got to fight this, and there was no option. I was just like, you've just got to get this sorted. So I could barely walk. I could barely move around my home. I could just about get to the kitchen and make food for my child, but the rest of the time, bless her, she was washing herself, dressing herself, logging on and doing her schoolwork, and I was just laying down the whole time. I could barely move.
So I can say at this stage now, week 3 going to 4, you were scared.
But the thing, because of the sort of person I am, I always look for. I refuse to let any doubt or negativity.
The rainbow was still there.
I was still there with the rainbow, and I was praying. I prayed so much, and I took everything to God. I mean, I feel at some point I was hallucinating. A lot of people now that I've spoken to have talked about how it almost gets in your mind, and you know, at times I felt like I was talking to him and he was there almost. But I think it's probably a coping mechanism to get through. But then I went into hardcore. I am not having this. We are going to fight. So I started doing my steaming. I was boiling ginger and thyme and drinking that every day. I was gargling Himalayan pink salt, apple cider vinegar, bicarbonate of soda. I sliced onions and I put them in my socks on the soles of your feet to draw out the toxins. I made ginger wraps with ginger, flour and honey, and I stuck them on my front and the back of my chest, which was drawing out the mucus. I was on it. I was doing every single thing. And I think what I found was being forced to get up to care for my child was helping to release the stuff that was filling up in my lungs. So I could feel my lungs were filling up with this sticky white, which I can only describe as glue. So I could pull it from my mouth like this, and it was sticky and it was gluey. And I now know that a lot of people that didn't make it at that stage, it's because
that's what blocked them up. They couldn't get it up. That's what they said. I remember them saying that. Yes.
They couldn't get it out.
Wow.
So I went through that phase of getting all that stuff out, and doing all the health stuff, breathing exercises, because what's really important, even though you feel like you cannot fully inflate your lungs, you have to, even when you're coughing out blood, you have to keep doing breathing, expanding your lungs as big as they can go, because it needs the air to. And I think that's another reason why I survived, because I wasn't in hospital. I think when you're in hospital and you lie down all the time.
Yes, I've heard that. I don't know if you saw, did you hear Cuomo? Oh gosh, I forgot his brother, the governor for New York. His brother, that's the same thing he said. And one of his doctor friends said, I know you want to lie down, but get up. Get up and breathe. And he was like, I can't. They said, I don't want to hear it. Get up and breathe.
It was so painful. Like you would cry from the pain, like breathing.
Yeah.
And also
I think Rodney explained that as well. Rodney said when he was in there, because he went into intensive care, he said there was days he just felt he couldn't, but he said, no, I have to fight it so that I can, you know,
And I think it was hard for me as well because I'm a singer and I grew up singing in church and I couldn't sing. I didn't have enough. Rodney's a singer as well. Actually, we grew up together in the same church, but I didn't have enough breath.
Yes,
I didn't have enough breath to sing. I couldn't.
Right.
My lungs didn't. There wasn't enough air, and it was such a panicky feeling. So I learned very quickly that part of this disease is that you need to control your anxiety.
Right.
Yeah, and that's when I got deep into the prayer, the meditation, the humming, it was a real fight, but it was like, I don't know, I can't even. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think for me as well, I've had my lung collapse, so I totally get when you're trying to breathe. Some people think I'm joking. I like air. I don't care what no one's going to say. And I don't think until you have an episode of not being able to take in the air that you take for granted is when you really realize, oh, I can't breathe. And, you know, we say about it, like, especially with the thing with George Floyd and things like this, but it's so true. Your airways can be blocked. And, you know, and if it's coming from within, you feel even less power because it's hard to fight from inside. So I can totally, and then you're a mom and you're thinking, I'm in here on my own, you know, my child is here, and you don't want the child to find you in any way. You're going through so much emotions as well as trying to fight a virus that is trying to take you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
so, you know, when did you get to the hospital though? Like when?
Yeah. So then literally week 5, the infection had died down. So I wasn't coughing out weird things. My lungs felt tired, but not full of gunk. So I thought, okay, you fought the infection off. You should start to recover now. Then week 5, I found again, I was very breathless suddenly. And I couldn't speak again. Because through all of this time, I wasn't taking any phone calls. Because it was like I had very limited breath. I could only say for like my best friend who was checking in on me every day. But I couldn't just speak. And then week 5, I suddenly found I could not speak again. And I had chest pains. And I've never had chest pains in my life. So that was quite frightening. So I called 111 and they said, we're going to send, I know, but the thing is, they brainwashed us to the, I feel like we were so controlled, like, do not go out of your house, do not go to the hospital, do not pass go, do not collect 200.
Get out a jail card. Yeah, that is how it was, Monopoly.
I called 111 and they sent an ambulance because they were concerned about
at long last.
Yeah. So the ambulance came, like they blue lighted there, and when they checked my blood pressure, it's 230 over 90, which I don't have any blood pressure issues. My blood pressure's always been fine. And they were alarmed and they said, we need to take you in. Now, that just really shocked me because I was still like the fear of going into hospital.
So we have a question. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Someone asked, did they give you a CPAP when you went in?
A CPAP? What's a CPAP?
Yeah. She would like to know what's a CPAP. Thank you.
Nice technical term. I don't
know.
But, so that was on week 5. So that was like, well, that was the 22nd of April. So I'd been ill since the 20th of March. And that was the 22nd of April when I got taken in by ambulance.
Right. Yeah.
I had to get my dad to look after my 6-year-old. And that was really traumatic because she had to see me go in the ambulance. And it was quite horrendous. And my concern was the 2 girls on the ambulance, or the 2 paramedics, they were not in full PPE. And I was concerned and I was like, why are you not? I said, I'm clearly sick and I don't want to get in here and infect you. Like, you don't have the correct stuff on. And that concerned me. And they were just like, well, you know, this is what's been given. And then that shocked me because I thought, well, you're
If
spreading it.
you're
To
really on
other
the
people.
front line collecting people that could have COVID, why are you not protected?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they literally had just a mask,
that was
the
it.
medical mask, and a plastic gown that was just
Outfit.
around their neck.
Yeah, that was
That was
it.
it. That was it.
Okay.
And all I kept thinking is, you know, all this equipment, like you're checking me with this blood pressure machine, but has it been sterilized? Like how I just
Yeah.
thought, I don't think, and I was so petrified of going into that hospital. I just
Wow.
thought, if I go in there, I'm not going to come out. And I didn't want to be, I'm never away from my children, and I just didn't want to be away. So they took me in and they did all the checks. I mean, I must say, A&E, I went to Charing Cross. They were absolutely fantastic, and the 3 occasions that I've gone in during this experience, they're absolutely amazing. They do have the hospital set up, red zone, green zone.
Right. Okay.
You know, they've got the COVID one separate. They're doing the best they can in these crazy circumstances.
Right.
But I feel like the government let them down in a big way by not giving them the correct
equipment, the tools that they
away.
needed. Yeah.
That certainly wasn't safe. But they checked me over. They did thorough investigations, ECG, chest X-ray, you know, all the tests, blood tests, everything. And they basically said they couldn't really see anything physically wrong. But they said, we think you're over the worst of COVID now, and you're in what they called the post-COVID recovery phase. And they said lots of people described these stabbing pains during that, but you should be fine, just rest, and you know, you will recover. So I left there thinking, okay, I'm over the worst, great, like I've done it, I'm getting there. And then I went into 2 weeks of extreme fatigue where I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. I couldn't lift my arms. It was like I was a lead balloon, like I was made of lead. I couldn't, to go to the toilet would take me like 15 minutes to drag myself. It was like being in slow motion. And again, I was like, I've never had this before. I was Googling. By then I was starting to investigate to try and find other people like me, because I felt like I was the only person. Because the news, I feel they put out, you either get it and die, or you get it for 14 days and you're fine.
And that's it. Yeah.
And it was like, those are the 2 options. And all it was,
those are the options. That's it.
Fever and cough.
Yeah.
I was like, I still haven't had a fever or a cough, but I've had COVID and bilateral pneumonia.
Right.
So, you know, so from the beginning, I was thinking, I don't think this illness is what they're saying it is.
They ain't got
so
a clue.
when they kept calling it a respiratory illness, my daughter had Kawasaki disease 2 years ago. Now, Kawasaki disease is inflammation of all the blood vessels in your body, and it's caused by, so there'll be a trigger, which is usually a virus, and then when your body's trying to fight that virus, it goes into an abnormal immune response. So it causes extreme inflammation in your body, and all your blood vessels all over your body start to swell. And the last ones it goes for are the blood vessels in your heart, and they will swell until they pop. So 3% of children will have a heart attack and die. 28% of children will be left with a coronary aneurysm. And in this country, it's the biggest cause of acquired heart disease in our children. So in UK children, Kawasaki disease is the biggest cause of acquired heart disease in UK.
But they only started talking about it now when it was COVID.
And our Kawasaki community, we're so happy that people are now talking about it. But this has been going on, you know, for many, many years. So I was already an expert in Kawasaki disease. And when this illness started, I said, this illness is very similar to Kawasaki. There's something about it that's causing an inflammatory response. And it's not just attacking your lungs, it's going to attack anywhere. And I think it's attacking the blood vessels. I kept complaining of pain in my blood. I was saying that my blood vessels are hurting and my veins feel fat and swollen. And I call them hot lava veins now. So it's like my blood is hot lava, and as it's flowing around, it's burning me.
Wow.
So from week 8, I had survived COVID. I had survived bilateral pneumonia. I had gone into post-recovery phase. But then from week 8, and I'm now in week 15, I have had ongoing complications of COVID. And what's now coming out is that there are 1 in 10 people who are suffering with long-term complications longer than 90 days. And they are neurological problems, vascular problems, cardiovascular problems, a whole range of things, because they're finding it's attacking the blood vessels all over the body. They found in a lot of autopsies.
So in other words, where they put out, it's a virus. It's a bit like the flu at first, but it's a virus. It just gives you pneumonia, but you know you can get over it.
Absolutely not.
That's not correct.
what they should have done from the very beginning, if they had been honest, because I feel like the people who are suffering the worst are the ones who got it around mid-March, and that's when, before they started lockdown, and they were just letting it run free. I think when herd immunity, when they were trying out herd immunity.
Tell us all. Let's see who dies and who dies.
If they had said from then, this is an inflammatory illness. This illness will attack the endothelial cells, the lining of your blood vessels. Stay in your house. People would have stayed in their homes. And this wouldn't have happened. But they gave up to say that it's a flu-like illness. It is for some people, but you don't know how your immune system is going to respond. So a lot of the people who die suddenly from it, their body's having a cytokine storm. So it's gone into this mad immune response. The inflammation goes up and it leads to bad things. A lot of the autopsies are showing people's bodies are full of tiny little blood clots. And again,
I've been hearing about that.
Right. So what's happened to me from week 8, I've had my legs covered in bruises as big as my hand, all over my legs. I've got weird headaches, which feels like I've been hit in the back of my head. In week 10, this side of my face and my neck and one arm all went completely numb. I had to go to hospital again. They had to check me for signs of a stroke. I kept saying to them about the burning in my veins. And I said to them, I think my blood is too thick. And I think it's too sticky. When they try to take...
It's not flowing. Right.
And I said to them, this disease is attacking the blood vessels, just like Kawasaki disease. And I know a lot about Kawasaki disease because of my daughter. But they all stared at me and looked like, okay, crazy lady.
Because we're doctors. We know. You're just a lay person. You don't know.
Exactly. But I'm saying, it's my body.
The problem. They don't listen to you and it's your body.
So when they tried to take my blood, it came out lumpy. I've never seen blood, like it couldn't fill up the vial. It came out in lumps, and the nurse was like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? When they checked my hemoglobin levels, which is your red blood cells, my level is too high. So they said, oh, your blood is too thick. And I said, yeah, that's what I've been telling you.
I told you that.
For the last 4 weeks, I've been telling you that it's burning.
She was saying the CPAP was for your breathing, but the thing is, you wouldn't have maybe necessarily experienced that because you didn't stay in hospital, did you?
No, I think that I went through the worst of my breathing problems at home.
So
weeks 2 and 3, my lungs were being attacked.
But you were at home. You didn't go to hospital.
And I must say, actually, another reason why I survived this is because of my asthma. So I've got spacers, I've got steroid inhalers, I've got my blue inhaler.
So you were already fighting and helping the lungs to function.
So I'm an expert in my lungs. I knew what to do for that. But it was like the infection bit. So I must say I was taking all my asthma medication every day, and I was taking the blue Ventolin inhaler, which is opening your airway. I was taking it through a spacer. I was having to use it 40 times a day sometimes, but I know that gave my lungs a chance to get through another day. So it was so intense. I can't even. One day I'll write a book or make a film or something.
No, definitely. It was really that's what I'm saying. This is called surviving COVID-19, and then we're going to have the well, you see, because Lisa, when she went into hospital, she'd had the worst part at home, so her lung hadn't collapsed, so she didn't get to. She didn't they didn't use that method on her. They gave her antibiotics. You had steroids. And
I had that all at home already.
Yeah, and she already has asthma. So she was already sort of like self-treating herself. So that's one of the reasons why they didn't do that. Yeah. So no, her lung didn't medically. Her lung would not have. Is not stated to have collapsed.
No, it didn't collapse. They called it bilateral pneumonia, and then in week 8. It was like I went round the cycle again. So in week 8, I suddenly started coughing out the white sticky stuff again.
Okay.
I had to go to hospital again, and they said that I had sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I have to just talk in the background. So I had to go back, and they said I had a bacterial chest infection, which is quite common after you've had pneumonia to then get another infection afterwards. So they had to give me.
Then you get pneumonia, then you got to get another chest infection.
So
what is this?
They gave me a second round of antibiotics. Now I don't take paracetamol. Like I don't take any medication. I'm just there like, no, ginger fixes everything. No, thank you. I don't need it. But because that was the first time I cried in the whole 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going downhill again. And I can't go through that again. And if I go downhill again, I
you
cannot.
can't go. You're going to get up. Yeah. Right.
That was the first time that I broke down, and I broke down to the GP, and I think they were a bit like, oh no, we don't know what to do. But yeah, but I took that second round of antibiotics, and I fought whatever that was off in 5 days.
Right.
But then, so for the last 5 weeks, I've been having these ongoing complications. I will tell you a list of my current symptoms, which I've written down, because one of my symptoms is brain fog. So they call it like
he has said that. Yeah.
So I am usually a businesswoman, a super mum, juggling all the balls.
Right.
And I'm finding at the moment I'm forgetting my words. I'm saying the wrong word. I'm forgetting things. I'm writing everything down. My brain is fuzzy. I've still got chronic fatigue, so I feel like most days I can do one thing. So I can walk to the little Tesco by the river,
right?
But then for the rest of the day I've got to lie down, or it's like I've got energy to do.
Well, it makes sense, because what you're saying is, remember, you've had a respiratory attack, and in having that respiratory attack and your blood being thick as well, your oxygenation through your body is not as good. So now you are going to be a little bit more cloudy, do whatever, because you're not getting that energy, that usual oomph to help you think and to function. And so that's one of the reasons why.
I bought the oximeter so I could measure my own oxygen levels at home.
Okay, good. Right.
Because I felt like I needed to take control and be monitoring myself. So I knew that if it dipped too low, then I would go in. But I thought I'll stay home as long as they're okay. But my current symptoms as well, the hot lava veins where my blood is burning. So at nighttime, the pain in my veins is unbearable. Like it will make you cry, and it keeps you awake. It's really painful, and like nerve pain in my legs.
Right.
I've got pins and needles in my hands and my feet. I've got a rash, which I don't know if you can, I hope you can't see, but usually my skin.
No, we don't see it. It's that beautiful face. We can't see any rash. You could keep that one.
Usually my skin is flawless and glowing. And
there you go, see?
Yeah, but there is a rash on my face. I've got this fizzing feeling, which lots of people have described. It's almost like your organs are gently vibrating inside you, and like they're fizzing. And I don't know what that is. I mean, I think it could be a release of cortisol or some sort of stress hormone. I don't know. There's something going on. I've had the numbness down one side. I've been slurring my words. I've got the elevated, my hemoglobin levels are too high.
Have you maybe had a drink? No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
I'm actually never drunk in my life.
I'm only messing with you.
I'm actually teetotal. And then the last thing that's happened over the last week is my inflammatory markers have now started to go back up. So the two that they track are called ESR and CRP, and it should normally be under 17. And when I had pneumonia, it went up high, which is normal when you've got an infection. Then it came down to 5, and now it's gone up to 29, and it should be under 17. So I've been saying to the GP, that is an indicator that
something is going on.
Right. The GP for the last 5 weeks has refused to see me. They have said, we don't know how to help you. So I make a point of calling them every week to say, I still have this list of symptoms. What should I do? And they just say, we don't know. We told you last week. We don't know how to help you.
Oh my gosh.
So
then why don't they refer you to someone that they maybe think can?
So what I did is I went out and investigated for myself. I joined support groups. There's a doctor, Dr. Paul Garner, who's like the head of infectious diseases in a Liverpool hospital, and he was ill from the same date as me, and he's had the same symptoms as me. So he's written medical papers now for the British Medical Journal, and that's gone into the Guardian. And then there's another doctor called Dr. Jake Suet, and he's only 31. He's an ICU doctor over here, and he's also got symptoms for 4 months. So he's written a letter to Boris Johnson, the health secretary, saying that there is going to be a huge public health crisis if you do not track these people, if you do not check these people now for cardiovascular problems, for check their blood vessels.
on their blood.
Exactly. You're just waiting, because a lot of these people could develop blood clots. That was another thing, actually.
And they're going to come back in.
Yeah, I was checked several times. They checked your D-dimer levels. They actually scanned my whole body looking for clots, because when they saw all the bruising and the swelling and stuff, they
well, one of the things that the medical reports were saying, especially from many of the autopsies, even that were done in Italy and Spain, is that the main reasons that they found that actually people were dying is because of the clots that were found in their lungs. And that's the reason. So they know that it's clotting wherever in the body that is actually what is killing people.
But then when I said that to the GPs, they're like, don't know. So I said, should I be taking baby aspirin? I mean, when you have Kawasaki disease, part of the treatment is immunoglobulin treatment and aspirin. Right. So I was saying, should I be taking aspirin to reduce the risk? They were like, we don't know. So basically, I joined these.
That was just crazy.
There are 30,000 people in this long term. They call it the long haulers for COVID sufferers. 30,000 people who have the exact same symptoms as me, and what we've done is sort of figure out a pathway ourselves. So we found that in UCL, in Whittington Hospital, in Royal Free, they are setting up COVID clinics, and your GP needs to refer you to these COVID clinics, and then you can have access to the neurology team, to the rheumatology team, to the endocrinology team, rather than going to your GP and them just looking at each thing individually. We need to be in one place where you're being looked at as a whole, because all these things are connected to COVID. Right. That I finally have got a referral to neurology, which I don't think is the right thing to do, but that's what my GP's done. And they're going to see me in September. That's an urgent referral because my face is numb and one side of my body is numb, and I'll be seen in September. So I just think that there is a big health crisis waiting to happen with people that are going to have long-term. Because one of the things with Kawasaki disease is when it's attacking your blood vessels and it's attacking the ones in the heart, you can't see it. It doesn't show on an ECG. The only way you can see it is to look when they put the jelly on, like the echocardiogram. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that for every single person who's got COVID. But it could have affected any blood vessel anywhere in your body. Right. So I just think we're sitting on a time bomb now.
Okay, so here's my thing to you. So, the healthcare that you've received then, from what it sounds like, when you went to hospital, that was positive. But when you were trying to, from your GP, it sounds like they're a hot mess. And, 111 wasn't very supportive. So, and you're a very, wise and intelligent woman. So you've done your own research. Yeah. But then for those who are believing in the medical practitioners, they are going to suffer because you're not giving them the correct information.
You will die at home.
Yeah.
Because you went in too late.
I mean, having been to the hospital and experiencing, now you saw some of the paramedics, they weren't wearing the right equipment. Do you believe, from you having it and in this group that you've been speaking to, do you see a disparity of our ethnicity being more so? Or do you just think it's just whoever is attacked and it gets at that time?
It's whoever. It's interesting, actually, because in the groups that I'm in, there are young white people saying, but I'm only 22 and I'm white, and the media told me that I'm not at risk. So why have I, they're genuinely shocked.
I'm so glad you highlighted that, because I believe that's the misconception. Absolutely. And especially with the lockdown release, it's going to be a thing where many young people think, well, I'm young, it doesn't affect me. No. Remember, they said it was only for over 70, and then, it's only for the ethnic minority. So we're good. That is not the case.
No, it isn't.
At risk.
Absolutely.
And that's why we've got children catching it, but then they're saying that's Kawasaki disease. And then we've got, people in their 20s and whatever getting it, and they can't understand why. It's that misinformation that is only to a certain ethnicity and to a certain age group.
And the thing is that the information is out there, but not everybody's like, I will stay up all night and read medical papers and read autopsy reports and read, but not everybody's going to do that. Most people are just going to take this nonsense that they
and what they're putting out every day. Right.
Which is just like,
and someone's saying that you shouldn't use blood thinners, and those are the things like heparin, aspirin. Don't use that. Try and use the natural remedy.
Absolutely.
And so I mean, I know, especially with my lupus, one of the things that I've been doing is having an immune tea. So that's where I'm having the turmeric, the garlic, the onions, the ginger, and the cinnamon and lemon. And I'm boiling up that tea. Well, I'm having a good old boil up back home thing going on in my kitchen. And every day I have me the tea and then a spoon of honey. And that is what I believe but is keeping me, you know.
And that's what I found frustrating. When this all happened in March, I was sharing information on Facebook saying, people take vitamin D3 now, take vitamin C now. Facebook were blocking those as fake news. They were stopping me from sharing that information and claiming it was fake news. And I was like, as a country, the government should not just stay at home. It shouldn't have been just stay at home, but also boil ginger every day, but also take vitamin D3, but also take vitamin C. So I think for me, because I boil up my ginger, my turmeric, my little concoction every day since my asthma attack in 2018. So again, I think that's another reason I survived it, because I had all of that was going on in the background. And the other good thing I would say to everybody should drink 16 ounces of celery juice every day, or take celery in some form. I know I have some friends who say juicing is not the best way, but if you look into the benefits of celery juice,
I'm not eating it. So for me, I have smoothies every day, and I actually put the celeries in my smoothie. So
it's everything to help inflammation.
You know, it is very good. I mean, so really, the overall time you've been unwell now is 15 weeks.
Yeah, so I've been unwell. This is day 107. I haven't been able to work. I'm self-employed. I have not taught a class since the 18th of March.
Wow.
I've had zero income. I've lived off my savings. It's been quite tough. And I am slowly improving. I can see now I've got more time in the day when I'm not completely wiped out, and I can go for a walk, but I am not back at my teaching 25 classes a week stage, and I don't know when I'm going to get there. I've now tried to, I'm trying to push forward now. I was starting to sort of lose my sparkle and my positivity, and I was starting to feel like, but what if I'm always going to be like this, or what if something bad is going to happen? And so I'm like, no, you cannot let this thing get into your head. So now I'm like actively pushing. So I've started like trying to exercise 20 minutes a day. It wipes me out for the rest of the day, but I do it just to keep pushing forward. And by the end of July, I'm going to try and teach 2 classes a week, 2 half-an-hour classes a week, because I feel like that's not 24 classes a week like I was doing before. I've got to push. I mean, financially, I need the money, but also for my mind, for my mental health, for everything, I just need to.
So you've been talking about your beautiful daughter. She's experienced ill health for herself, but how do you think this has impacted her? How has this impacted your family, this experience then?
I'm really concerned about the long-term mental health effect it will have on our children. I definitely think I've got 2 daughters. The big one's 18, and the little one is 6. And I think it's probably impacted the little one more, because she wasn't on the technical shielding list, but there was a bit of confusion about
as to are they
because I'm asthmatic and I wasn't officially on the list, but I still felt I should be away. But her Great Ormond Street consultant said shield her, so I kept her home. She hasn't played with any other children for 15 weeks, and she's been with just me, except when I've gone into the hospital. And I just think for her mental health, like I can see, because after she had Kawasaki disease, she was off school for 3 months. She was in hospital for a long time, and we kind of went into our own little bubble, and it took a while to get her back. And I can see we're going to have to go through that same process again to like sort of reintroduce her to the world. It's going to be really tough, and I worry. I mean, I'm not in any rush to send her back to school. It's wrong when they say this doesn't affect children. It does affect children.
It does.
And obviously then they've got the complication of having the inflammatory response, the Kawasaki-like illness that they say can happen, which I should also add, that can happen to anybody. It doesn't just happen to children. When they're putting it out in the press,
they did say that it could be a secondary cause of COVID for adults. But they think in children, they were saying it wasn't causing COVID, it was just straight causing Kawasaki disease. That was what the difference was.
Yeah, they gave it a name, pediatric multi-inflammatory illness. But yeah, that can happen to adults too. So I think a lot of the adults that die, that's what's happened. They've had that
Right. So
inflammatory.
what they're saying, so they're saying what's changing throughout the epidemic. We've been clear that, you know, on the balance of risk of the disease to those who are critically extremely vulnerable and things. So I'm not going to be, but from the 6th of July, if you wish, you can meet with up to 6 people outdoors, including your family or someone from a different household. But you need to maintain strict social distance. And I'm like, yeah, right, okay. And then, and it goes on what you can do. And then from the 1st of August, the advice is that we will look at having the shielding paused. But the government is advising you to adopt strict social distancing and strict the means that wish to go out. You might want to go to more places, but you have to be careful. And we're still hoping that you will do more outside than you will trying to go to someone's home. So from August, you can go to work if you cannot work from home, but we would want to ensure that your employers makes it COVID safe. Children who are clinically extremely vulnerable can return to their education settings if they are eligible and in line with their peers. Where possible, children should practice frequent hand washing and social distancing. You will now be allowed to go out to buy food, go to places of worship, and for exercise, but you need to maintain strict social distancing. And you should still remain cautious because you are still and will be at severe risk of illness if you catch coronavirus. So the advice is to stay at home as much as possible. And if you do go out, follow strict social distancing guidelines. We will be reviewing this after the 1st of August, but you will be the first to be informed if the measures are to change prior. So this is them trying to save our lives. I think it's a lot of podswallop myself. At the end of the day, one of the things that, and we're going to discuss that in another week, is about the mental health impact of what COVID-19 is having on people. The people that are suffering from it, the people that have lost loved ones. It's not normal that someone passes away without their loved ones around them. It is not normal that someone passes away and you are not in a position to go and say goodbye. So we're going to have so many people suffering with mental health issues because this is not normal. And it's in this capacity that the local authorities and governments need to put a lot more forums for people to discuss, like what you found. You had to search that yourself, you know, more access to information and to be honest. I mean, come on.
And I think that's the key. They're not being honest. We've created a term in our community, the COVID community, called medical gaslighting.
COVID community.
Yeah. Those people have become like my family. Like the friendships that have been formed in those groups, the one-to-one connections. Like I'm counselling other women who are, you know,
superwoman again.
No,
yeah,
they're home alone with their children and they're scared. And I'm saying, you know, you're not scared. This is my number. You call me if you need me. You know, we're forming our own community because no one's looking after us. But the term
for you. She's got. Yeah. How do you feel about this new injection that they want to give to the vulnerable? You know, is it something that, oh no, that the head shaking? It's a no. She said no. What's your experience? Why do you say that?
I'm not an anti-vaxxer because lots of people like to throw that term around.
Yeah,
I understand the concept of immunization, and I think if it's done safely, there is a place for it.
Right.
I would just check. You shouldn't really have anything that's being done quickly. And when you're creating a vaccine, it should be done safely.
And that's usually 2 years. That's the minimum. It's usually 2 years.
Yeah. So anything that's been speeded up for whatever, I would just say be very careful and make sure you check the ingredients. Most people I know will take their babies to get a vaccination and they will just hand them over and let that thing go in. If you're buying tablets, you will buy it with a box. You will read the little insert, you know, it's all there listed for you. I just say to people, check that you know what ingredients are being injected into your humans.
Okay, so our time is coming to an end.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, I told you, it just goes like that, doesn't it?
So many more words.
I mean, and last words of wisdom before you go, we go. What would you say to any of those mums, parents, people out there that maybe they've not had it, and the second wave they have said is imminent to come? What do you say?
I would say protect yourself and protect your families. Educate yourself. Know about how to take care of your families. We should be doing this all the time anyway.
Right.
Ginger, get vitamin D, get vitamin C, cut out sugar, cut out dairy, just clean up your lives, connect with other people, be grateful for every day that we're here. For me, this is kind of given me a new sense of purpose. I now, I mean, I was kind of living like that before, but I will be sharing my gifts with the world and living on a whole next level, because I'm just so grateful to be here, and nothing is impossible with God.
No, excellent, and I'm glad that you said that. So once again, because you are considering you're going to be doing a summer program, so put out there what you're going to be doing, and put that yeah, that's right. Put it out there, yeah.
So you can go to Wiggle Waggle with Keisha on Facebook. You can go to @Keisha Wiggle Waggle. That's KEISHA Wiggle Waggle on Instagram. Right. And I will be doing online sessions, Wiggle Waggle sessions, and some family Zumba sessions. And all the details will be on my social media very, very soon. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. So people, I will definitely be giving you more of that information as she comes out. Please, follow her on Instagram, definitely on Facebook, and I'm sure she's got a site. So Wiggle Wammer. So all of you, for your young people, because I know some of you, your children, you were losing your mind in this time. I know you were. You were like, before you were like, I hate that teacher. Now you're like, I love you. Please take my baby back. See, I know now you like us teachers. I know now. Now I'm being teachers appreciation. You're gonna give me all kinds of gifts. No, so no, I'm really, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I know that this was difficult for you. And I am so appreciative of the fact that you have been willing to share your story, and I know that people will be blessed and will learn from it. So
can I say thank you to Rodney Jones, because I shared this story because of Rodney Jones.
There you go. See, back in the day, folks. Day, folks. And as you know, he's already said that you're a champion, and he's very proud of you. So,
and I must say as well, it's really important, even in these lockdown times, to stay connected. My best friend got me through this on the tough days.
Definitely. So no, thank you so much, beautiful. And continue to develop and grow into the amazing woman that you are. Your business is going to go from strength to strength, because one of the things that you are going to promote is I'm a COVID-19 survivor and I'm still here. So I have a purpose. I
have antibodies. I made antibodies.
And you have antibodies, right? And you know what? At the end of the day, if I can do it, you can. Absolutely. There you go. So stay blessed, darling. So thank you all for spending the time with us. And remember, until next week, stay blossom. Bye. Don't you leave. Let them.